You know, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Kate. This was a very different kind of speech than we're used to. The purpose of this speech, from the Advanced Manual Communicating on Television, is to give an editorial, and since the context of this is in a studio with a camera, we don't have the usual kinds of things about gestures and eye contact and the things we normally associate with a speech. So this is a very challenging one. I have done this before and I didn't do quite so well as you did. The purpose is to give a 3-minute editorial, possibly assisted with cue cards, and to directly address the camera, and to presumably give an effective conveying of the information and the opinion that was being expressed. And I thought you did those particularly well. I thought your voice was very effective. It was a very good pitch. It conveyed sincerity, and it expressed a specific opinion, which is part of the purpose of an editorial. It was not simply objectively reporting the news, as we often see, but expressing an opinion. A very timely one, because the Arab Spring, which seems to have lasted 18 months, is presumably culminating in this election, which we'll see if it's still spring, or maybe they're going into winter, who knows. Your writing was very powerful, very clear. You were making a point not just about Egypt, but about the importance of issues which have traditionally been associated with women, and yet you made a very powerful case about how those are really everybody's issues, not just for women. I thought that was particularly effective. The most powerful part of it was, in fact, the writing. Now, even though, for an editorial, even though you're expressing an opinion, you want to convey objectivity. And there were things in your writing and your voice that did that. And I want to point out a few things about your body gestures that may have detracted from that a little bit. And I think would have, if done a little bit differently, would have made it a little bit more effective. For one, I noticed that your shoulders were a little bit hunched throughout. You'll see this on the video. And so it's more, if you bring them down, it conveys more of a solid projection of your ideas, because you're conveying the strength and the sincerity of that. And if you're doing this, it kind of takes away from that. Also, I saw hands clasped here and steeple hands, and then they kind of went under the table at one point and then came back out. Hands are a particularly difficult thing with this. And in this case, I think that it would have come across, that the sincerity would have been projected more effectively if you just found a resting place for the hands and simply kept them there. And that's really hard to do for 3 minutes. I thought the air quotes, for example, it took away a little bit from the projection of objectivity. In other words, they were sending a mixed message. They were saying, okay, when you said women's issues, you were conveying, well, what you were trying to say, but in kind of a way that subverted what you were trying to do. But overall, I thought that your use of the project was the best that I've ever seen, and I've done it, and Carl's done it, so I guess this is a subtle dig at Carl. It's okay, I like him on Facebook. The most challenging thing I found was to keep the gaze on the camera. You did that about 90 to 95% effectively. The cue cards you used very well. You had your cue card person here. I only noticed one little glitch with that, which was fantastic. When I tried to do this, it was a mess. So overall, you did an outstanding job with this project, and I look forward to lots of things on TV. I look forward to seeing it on TV.